Welcome to the explainer. All right, we're jumping right into this one. Imagine dying as a brilliant modern doctor and master chemist, only to be reincarnated into a medieval world. Sounds like a standard setup, right? But here's the massive catch. You aren't reborn as a king or a knight or some wealthy merchant. No, you are Shenlong, a man officially known across the land as the city's absolute biggest idiot. His enemies, they think he's a total joke, just a pathetic punching bag they can toss aside. But they have absolutely no idea they are messing with a ruthless genius. Today, we're breaking down this incredible tale of revenge and mastermind escalation, where a supposedly hopeless fool uses a 300 IQ to completely flip the board. Talk about a nightmare scenario right out of the gate. So, you wake up in this disgraced, pathetic body, and a ruthless underworld boss named Tianheng is literally actively preparing to bury you alive. Why? Well, the original owner of this body was a naive simp who inherited a predatory 100 gold coin debt because of insane compounding interest. That debt has now ballooned into a brutal execution sentence. Not just for Shenlong, but for his entire family. Section 1. Reborn as the village fool. Okay, so how does a supposedly brain-dead guy survive a mafia execution? It all comes down to his ultimate cheat code. The original Shenlong was illiterate, weak, and pathetically obsessed with his toxic, manipulative ex-wife, Sukan-chan. But this new Shenlong, he's a 300 IQ doctor, a master chemist, and he is completely ruthless. Plus, during the time-traveling reincarnation process, his modern medical laptop and an X-ray machine literally fused directly into his brain. I mean, think about that. While his enemies, especially his ex-wife's family who just kicked him to the curb, treat him like a toddler, he's basically walking around with a mental supercomputer and X-ray vision. He manages to negotiate a 3-day pause on his execution, but the price? A staggering 1,000 gold coins. That's 10 times the original debt. The clock is seriously ticking. So what's his play? He turns to modern chemistry. While supposedly extracting medicinal brews, he synthesizes a legendary golden dye, and later this crazy multicolored rainbow silk that completely humiliates his ex-wife's dull medieval methods. He ends up winning a massive bet with local officials, secures the bag, and survives the deadline. But he realizes pretty quickly here, money only buys time. It definitely doesn't buy permanent safety. Section 2. Securing the fake marriage. To permanently shield himself, Shenlong needs the ultimate medieval bodyguard. That means allying himself with the most powerful military force in the city. And his plan to infiltrate the Earl's mansion and win the hand of the badass military commander Jin Yulan, it is an absolute masterpiece of manipulation. Step 1, he literally throws himself into a fake traffic accident with Jin Yulan's horse, practically forcing her to take him back to her estate for medical treatment. Step 2, he leverages inside political intel he overheard, specifically that the rival Zhu family is coming to force a political marriage on her just to steal her military power. Step 3, he enters the high-stakes suitor competition that her father hastily throws together to block that rival family, and he offers Mulan exactly what she wants. While all these other arrogant lords and scholars are boasting about their grand ambitions and how they'll basically take over her family, Shenlong drops the ultimate Uno reverse card. He says, as long as she doesn't cheat, she can have all the freedom she wants. He knows exactly what she needs. A shield, not a master. Mulan needs a fake husband to protect her military command, and the village fool who guarantees her absolute autonomy is literally the perfect candidate. Section 3. Bankrupting the underworld boss. So, with a noble title now protecting him as the Earl's son-in-law, it's time to settle some scores. Tianheng wanted to bury him, right? Well, Shenlong is going to bury his entire empire. 26,000. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the staggering, astronomical fortune Shenlong drains from Tianheng to systematically destroy his gambling monopoly in the city. And the way he pulls off a heist of this magnitude right under the mob's nose is just insane. First, he actually borrows his starting chips directly from the mob boss's own enforcers. Talk about audacity. Then, he activates his built-in X-ray vision to literally see every single card drawn in these high-stakes games. It's totally unfair. But he doesn't just quietly take the money. He lets the entire crowd of gamblers bet with him, which creates this massive, unstoppable wave of wins that totally drains the casino's vaults. He forces the boss to submit, not by throwing punches, but through crippling financial ruin. But Shenlong isn't satisfied just taking the money.
He actually forces the underworld boss to publicly break his own adopted son's legs just to keep his remaining operations alive. This is the exact moment Shenlang proves he isn't just a survivor. He's a terrifying mastermind who will completely destroy anyone who threatens him or his family.
Section 4. Cleaning the Earl's Mansion. Now that the streets are handled, Shenlang starts hunting down the internal threats lurking inside his new, powerful family. And it becomes this hilarious battle of medieval corruption versus modern processing power. The corrupt accountant, Suen Hall, hides his massive theft behind decades of messy, impossible-to-read paper ledgers. But Shenlang, he essentially has a mental Excel spreadsheet. The Earl tests Shenlang by asking him to audit 20 years of accounting in a single night. Using his reincarnated computer brain, Shenlang processes the data flawlessly and catches the massive discrepancies almost instantly. He tracks the thief to a hidden outpost and locates a massive vault containing 11,000 embezzled gold coins. The only problem is, it's locked tight. But remember that cheat code? With his X-ray vision, Shenlang effortlessly spots the vault key hidden, wait for it, literally inside the corrupt accountant's hairknot. He just casually plucks it out, secures the massive fortune for the Earl's mansion, and completely neutralizes the corrupt internal threat. Section 5. Destroying an enemy's reputation.
All right, it's finally time for the long-awaited revenge against the treacherous ex-wife who started this whole mess, Su Kenshan, and her arrogant family. How do you destroy a family built entirely on flawless high society prestige? Well, you basically invent medieval cancel culture. Shenlong writes Lovebird's Dream. It's this viral, thinly veiled novel exposing the deepest, most twisted psychological flaws of a character who looks and acts exactly like his ex-wife. It goes completely viral in the capital, burns her flawless reputation to ash, and drives her to absolute public despair. But he doesn't stop at her reputation. He goes after their wallets by weaponizing modern chemistry, specifically white phosphorus. This is a chemical substance that spontaneously ignites when exposed to air. Under the cover of darkness, Shenling sneaks into the Su family's massive silk workshop and plants the stuff. Once it's exposed to oxygen, it burns their entire production line to the ground, leaving absolutely zero trace of arson. It is a brilliant, totally undetectable sabotage.
Section 6. Exposing a royal rebellion. Now we are escalating the stakes from local rivalries to kingdom-wide political warfare. Shenlong's enemies try to frame him during a massive high society banquet, and this is where he plays true 4D chess. They try to corner him with a fake treasonous poem to get him executed, but he is literally 10 steps ahead. Weeks prior, he used his medical knowledge to diagnose a visiting princess with lead poisoning. He tracked the enemy spies associated with her and then planted an acrostic poem, a poem where the first letters spell out a secret message, into a recently published book. Finally, he just waits, letting a rival, arrogant scholar publicly claim he wrote the poem just to embarrass Shenlong.
And the trap snaps shut perfectly. This rival scholar loudly claims the poem in front of the entire kingdom's elite, completely unaware that those hidden first letters spell out a detailed confession to a royal coup orchestrated by a rebellious prince. Boom! In one single breath, Shenlong cures a princess, clears his name, completely destroys his arrogant rivals, and exposes a kingdom-threatening rebellion. Both the audience and the villains are just left absolutely stunned by his sheer foresight.
Shenlang has conquered the underworld, cleansed his noble house, and totally dismantled his local rivals. But now, the emperor is watching. What happens when the imperial throne and the incredibly cunning Zhang Cheng make their move against the 300 IQ fool? Honestly, this explainer only scratches the surface of this mastermind's epic journey. What do you think his next move's going to be? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll